Alright, so today I'll show you how to make a shooting AI which gets a better position, uh, a better spot which has a good visibility towards you before shooting you. Alright, so basically if I hide, they will move and get a better location which is which has sustainable distance from you and has also good visibility towards you. So if I go here, you can see these, they can see me, so they don't move. But if I go somewhere like here, they will start to move. One is already here. See, the first one came to shoot me, and more will come. They get better locations. As you can see, more came. Oh, they're fast at running. Might be stuck here. No. Let's move them. You can see them running, getting better locations. Let's stroll them a bit. Let's hide top. This works even on top. So as you can see, that guy didn't had a good location towards me, so he positioned itself to get a position at me. Alright, you see, it over here and moved there to get a better location. If I move again, they will come and chase me. You see, they come, keep a bit of distance and shoot me. So let's get started. Firstly, you will need to create a character, which I already have. I'm assuming you have one too. Alright. Then what you need is right click, go to artificial intelligence, get environment query. I've already created one. Then right click, blueprint class, write query. Okay. And no, write context. Then you will get environment query context underscore blueprint base. Create that. Create two of them. Name one midpoint and name one context player. All right. So how this actually works is let's say this is a player and this is our enemy. All right. We'll generate EQS points in the midpoint of these. So this will be the midpoint. This is the distance between those two. All right. We'll create a midpoint here, and around this midpoint we will create some EQS points. All right. And let's say there is a block here and a block here and a few more blocks here. So in that way, this or this might be a good spot for visibility. All right. And our enemy AI will move here. Okay, so we are taking the midpoint just so that it looks believable that a shooting AI is skipping distance. But you have, if you have more aggressive type of AI like enemy with shotgun or pistols, which does need to get closer to our player, or if enemy has flamethrowers or something, instead of creating a here, we create it towards the player. Or if you have enemies with with rifles and snipers or something like that, instead of midpoint, we create it at at enemy's location. But this is good for midpoint is good for enemies with SMGs or assault rifle kind of things, basically SMGs or some those kind of weapons. All right, so let's go back. Once we have created these two, context midpoint, context player, and also our EQS, name it whatever you want. I've named it ranged AI. around midpoint EQS. All right. So firstly, we go to the context player. All right. In functions, we go to override and get provide actor set. Here I have already created one, that's why it is not showing, but we go here and get provide actor set. Then you won't get these, you will only get this and this. All right, so what you will need to do is get player pawn, get player pawn, get its class, like get class, and then from that get all actors of class, which is this, and then feed it into this. You don't need to worry about this. I have this just for debugging purposes and some other stuff. You don't need this. All right, once you have this, create the other one, context midpoint. Well, we'll create this one a bit later. So let's get back into our AI. All right, here you will need to create an event, two events, or one might do as well. Well, I've created in this one, which is child of this. So I've done that just because I needed some variety in how these behave. So you don't need to do that. You can just add these functions right in this. All right, so let's go to the functions. What are they? First is the distance from player. All right, basically it is this actor's location, player's location. Player, you can do get player pawn and feed it in. I've already stored my player here, so that's why I have just dragged it in, and get the distance and put it in the return node. So now we need to get the midpoint. So create a function get midpoint. All right, here firstly we call the distance from player, this one. Then we get create an arrow. All right, as you can see, I've created an arrow. This is for getting the angle in 3 dimensions, because we might go above here somewhere, right? That's why we need that arrow, so it can move and we don't need to move our guy in all directions and something like that. So get this arrow, okay, and set its world location. Now for that, what we need to do is get actor location, feed it into find rotate, look at rotation, get player's location. All right, and feed it in and set the world rotation. Now we get the arrow's world location and its forward vector. Now as it is already looking at a player, what will happen is this is our enemy, this is some height stuff, some block or building, and this is our player. Okay, as the arrow is already looking at it, this is the arrow. Okay, it is easy to get the middle point here, instead of getting forward and the middle point here. As you can see, this is longer than this. Okay, basic Pythagoras theorem. So that's why we need this arrow. So once we go back, get world location, get forward vector of this arrow, okay, and this distance we got divided by 2, because we want half the length, we want the midpoint, right? That's why we got to divide it by 2. But if you want a bit down, you can divide it by 3 as well, but we don't want that. So divide it by 2, multiply it with our get forward vector, get world location, and add these add the multiplied vector, and then promote this to a variable. Don't promote it to a local variable, promote it to a variable, name it midpoint, and make sure to make it public. Once you have made it public, feed it into the return node, create a like return node, okay, and just feed it inside it. Name it output midpoint or just midpoint, however you like. Sorry. Then we go back into our context midpoint. From here, here we created actor set, right? Here we again create actor set. Yeah, no, we create a location set. Sorry. Here we created a provide actor set. As you can see, override here, it also says provide location set. So here we have provide location set. All right, get the querier actor. Querier actor is basically the actor which uh, is firing this blueprint. All right, so get your actor which will be firing this, in my case, which is this actor, cast to it, and then we get our function that we created. We created this function, right? We get that function, and from output node we just feed it inside. You just do that, it will create an array. All right, now we have the midpoint. So once we have the midpoint, what we need is open up our EQS from root, generate a grid, points grid. All right, it's you should always have one, not two. So I'll delete it. I don't know why they say you should always have one, but let's just keep one. So first I'll uncheck this. Once you have this is the size of the grid. Keep it how long you want it. All right, then space between the points. If you want to see this grid, how big the grid is, all right, what you can do is right click, blueprint class, create EQS testing pawn. All right, I already have this EQS testing pawn. I'll put it here. You scroll down, you will get this EQS. All right, you scroll down, you will get this query template. Just feed it in the query template we created. It won't show because right here I have context midpoint. Instead of context midpoint, if I do context player, it will show. All right, should show. So now it isn't showing because I have the player start and I don't have the actual player. So if I pull out my actual player, it should show. Well, it should show. Why isn't it showing? Context. Yeah. In context player, if I do this, then it will show. Now it will show. That's why I had this for debugging purposes. Yeah, as you can see, now it shows. So these are the points. All right. Why isn't it refreshing? Anyways, let's go further. So instead of, once you have set this, instead of context player, we need context midpoint. All right, we need that context midpoint. Go back here, context player, revert it back once you have set that. Where is it? Yeah, context midpoint. Yeah, set it to context midpoint. Projection data, set it to navigation. Okay, don't set it to geometry. You can set it to geometry, but test it and see what is the, which one you like. I think navigation is better for this. Okay, and just copy the settings that I have. Then we go here, right click, add test, and in this test, first thing we need is a trace. Alright, this trace. And now we set it to filter only, trace data, trace channel, set it to visibility, shape should be line, context should be context player because we are tracing towards the player, not to the midpoint. So that's why we need context player. Offset, height, offset, these are just offsets on our item and on the context, which is the context player. If it is 0, it doesn't matter, it will still work fine. I have set this to 50 because it works better in my game. Alright, for all those parkable objects that I have, it's better if I keep these settings. So play around with it and see which one do you like. Then we need context distance. You see distance. Alright, context player. Again, here we had filter only, here we will need score only. Test mode 3D, distance to context player. Alright, and scoring equation, make sure to set it to linear. Alright, you can keep it to inverse linear, but it will literally give you the opposite of what we are achieving. Alright, so scoring equation should be linear and this should be 1 and absolute. Last one is add test and get path finding. I know it says path length, but get the path finding. Go here and instead of path exist, get path length. Alright, get path length. This we need score only. Test mode should be path length. Context should be context query, which means the actor which is calling. Alright, so we need the path from our actor to the point. So for that we need scoring equation inverse linear. So what inverse linear will do is it will get the shortest path or the longest path. Wait, I don't quite remember. Basically it will give either of that. You test it and find it. Yeah, closest path. It will give you the closest path and here it will give you the further path. So if you do inverse linear, it will give you the closest path towards the player. So we don't want that. We want the path to be away from the player. So we need that. Once we have set it to inverse linear, we are done with this, and this. All right. Now we go to the main thing. I have all these created. Well, you don't need this. This is my personal game stuff. All right. So what you need is search new location for visibility. Okay, you now this function, this event has everything we need to check and call all of this and then go to the location and then shoot our player. All right, you can call this event anyhow you want. Okay, so first thing after you create this is you need another event which is reset another event and call it reset check after reposition. All right, then we call run eqs query, run eqs query, not run eqs, we call run eqs query. Okay, the eqs query template I have already promoted it to a variable. As you can see, this is our query. Here I have selected single random item from best 25%. You can play around with this. Single best item will just give you one item. Best of 5, which gives you 5% of all the best items, and 25 is best 25, and all matching will give you all the matching will give you all the best options and then you can select from them. All right, so we get delay and get world delta seconds. This is quite very important because uh, if you don't have this, your EQS will work sometime and will not work sometimes, because it does need a few seconds or a few milliseconds, sorry for that, a few milliseconds to calculate everything. Okay, so you need this, then drag from this and get is valid, this question mark one. Okay, get is valid. If it is valid, we go further. If it's not, then, well, these events are something that I have, uh, how do I say it, um basically whatever you want to do. If the path does not exist, let's say it doesn't get any good points, then what to do? Well, then you do this, whatever you want. All right, maybe you want the player to stop or go, or like die or do something else. Well, whatever you want to do, you do it here. All right, you make a event and keep on calling it. We will need this quite a lot. So if it does have a point, if it doesn't, we do this. If it does have a point, call in query results, get query result as locations. Okay, because we are searching it as locations, not as actors. So get query results as location. All right, get a branch from the return value. If it doesn't get any points, we go back here to do whatever you want. If it does have some points, get from result locations, get length, select random integer in length. First minimum will be 0, max will be the length. Then get a random integer, integer no, get a random location, and from array this will be the index. All right, and then important step, promote this to a variable. All right, you got to promote it to a variable, set it. Now this part, sometimes it does give you an odd location like 000, so the AI will try to go to 00. It does not happen frequently, but I have encountered this quite a lot in my previous what do you say, previous projects. So it's a better, it's better if you have this. It won't happen much, but in case if it ever happens, it's better you had this. All right, if it does try to go to 00, well, do whatever you want, reset it back to the root action or state or whatever. Then obstacle checker, well, I have these because my game has some Parker elements, so it is because for that you don't need this. You go straight into AI move to. All right, if it is false, you go straight into AI move to, get self, and the destination will be this, the variable that we created. All right, then we go to AI move to. If it is success, get do once, and remember this, we created this reset check after reposition. Well, it should be here. All right, we are calling this. On fail, again we do whatever you want, same as here. Then we check visibility. Check visibility is nothing but just this. We get actor location, enemies location. I've created an offset. You don't need to, but if you want, you can create an offset, add it in. Actors, current actor's location will be in the start, enemy's location will be in the end. Ignore self. All right, get out hit and get a branch. So in branch, if it do not hit anything, well, do whatever you want, that stuff. return back to the root or whatever. If we do get a hit, we need to check if we do not hit other building or any other AI or something like that. Or we only care about hitting uh, our current enemy, which is the player. So get the current enemy, which will be the player. Alright, I've already set this to current enemy to a local variable. No, not local variable. Basically a variable. Right here it will be player pawn actually. Player pawn. But I have already set it to a variable, promoted it to a variable. So let's say it is, if it is equal to, then player is visible. All right, then we go back, check this. If player is visible, we call shooting. If it's not, then you can do whatever you want. What I've done is created a random bool with weight, aggression rate, which is 20%. So there is a 20% chance that it will check for a new location. All right, and 80% chance that it will just give up the token and go back do whatever it want. I have a token system, so this is that. But you can do whatever you want here if it is not visible. All right, and in shooting all I have is look at player, where the AI will look at the player. Okay, have some delay and then play the montage and shoot. All right, so that is basically it. It doesn't have anything much, I guess. This rest of this stuff is just what I have for my Parker system or whatever, how I have set my attacking stuff and token system and whatever. All right, basically you need this and you can call this however you want. All right, once you have created that, I guess we have covered everything, right? Yeah, once you have done that, go back in, place your nav mesh and your agents, and yeah, they will, as you can see, this raycast, they are doing this check visibility for duration, right? I've set it to 2. If I say change the color to say set pink and this to be say yellow, you can see it, these are those rays. This should be those rays. Pink, okay, yellow, let's say blue, pink and blue. As you can see, those are pink and blue now. Pink, right? After hit, it is blue. It's not quite visible, so I'll just revert it back to uh, red and green. All right, you go hide and check if they come. They do come. So yeah, that's it. Now you can call this event, this search new location for visibility event, however you want. I have some logic that I have already created. All right, I have this attack node, uh, attack event as the base, and it checks for visibility. All right, if I have visibility, it shoots. If I don't, it searches for new location. And I have this token system which checks if I have token. If I don't have token, it will just stay at one spot and wait, and then check again if I have a token. All right, and my player actually handles the token system, which you can see here. I cast to my player, add my AI to my players array that I have in my player and check it. As you can see, I've got the player, okay, promoted it to a variable and set that current enemy, which you see here. And then I call in attack. And I just keep on looping this. I just keep on looping this over and over again. But you don't need to do that. You can customize it however you want. All right. And then you will have it. If you don't want it to loop, you can add multiple um, checks or multiple conditions, like if the player's health enemy's health is low, or whatever you want. Like for example, if the enemy's health is too low, you don't want them to move, or if it's too high, you want them to be very aggressive or whatever. All right, so I hope you enjoy your AI. It should set fun. All right, so this that's it for this tutorial. If you have any further questions, or if I have missed anything, please let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, see you next time. If you have any further questions, you can ask them in comment section, or you can DM me on my socials. I have the link in the description. All right, until then, bye, take care.